Peace, peace. What's up, everybody? Um, we back at it again. Plot in progress, episode number 8, I believe. Tonight we got a special guest. Very interesting topic. Um, we're gonna start like we always do, though, with our icebreaker. So shout out to the brothers, everybody that jumped on the call tonight. Um, who spit those bars? So I had a couple of songs that I was considering for tonight and I was kicking this around, but I'm gonna go with this one for tonight. And I'm gonna see if y'all know this one. Give me 1 second. All right. Now this one isn't like explicitly speaking to land ownership like the last couple that we did, but it's still in the vein of black empowerment, ownership, collective economics, all that stuff, right? But most importantly, it's about getting our priorities straight. All right, so here it is. Um, all this Fendi and Gucci is goofy. LV canceled. You tell them to sue me. Rolex, AP, ain't shit. Y'all follow. Need that. Need us. Almighty Black Dollar. Y'all know that one?
Nah, say it one more time.
I'm gonna run it back.
Say it like you rapping it.
Nah, I'm trying to break it up so you wouldn't catch the cadence. You gonna catch it if I do it like that.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's not Kanye.
I'm gonna run it back. I'm gonna run it back. All this Fendi and Gucci is goofy. LV canceled. You tell them to sue me. Rolex, AP, ain't shit. Y'all follow. Need that. Need us. Almighty Black Dollar.
Weezy?
Who you say?
It's not Weezy, is it?
Weezy.
It's not Weezy, but it's an easy.
Weezy would never say nothing like that.
Ain't Weezy, but it's another easy. Not Yeezy. Not Weezy. Come on, y'all.
Man, I'm drawing a blank.
Okay, we got Weezy, we got Yeezy, and we got another easy. Young Jeezy. That's Jeezy.
Oh, Jeezy,
Jeezy?
man.
That's Young
That's
Jeezy
Jeezy.
lyrics?
Yeah, that's Jeezy on a song featuring Rick Ross, featuring Rick Ross. The name of the song is called Almighty Black Dollar.
Okay,
Almighty Black Dollar.
Yeah, so basically they just kind of going like, I mean, that's the theme of the song pretty much.
Black Dollar. So Jeezy got a song with Rick Ross called Almighty Black Dollar, and I ain't never heard it.
Check that one out. Check that one out.
Which album is that on, man?
It's not on the most recent album. I believe it's on the one before that.
Right before.
Young Jesus.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I believe so.
I got it. I just hadn't checked it out yet.
Yep. All right. So with that being said, let's get to our esteemed guest, brother Trenell Floyd. I met this brother a couple of years ago through a good friend of mine, the good brother Jay Johnson, introduced me to him, and he kind of like just told me what he was into, and considering, I was like a new landowner at the time, and I was talking to people about things that I kind of wanted to explore. So when I met this brother, I actually had the privilege of coming to his house, and I was blown away. Like, I already knew what I was coming to see, but then when I got there and I seen it in action, and he was just breaking down the science of it, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Very impressed. This brother's, I mean, he's well versed in this area, so I'm very excited to have him here so he can share some of this knowledge about aquaponics, right? So before I kind of lend the floor over to him, let's get into like a brief history of aquaponics. And this article here actually found on the University of Washington website. This was like an article that was published several years ago, but it says aquaponics, basically just like a basic, like a vague history, right? Historical evidence traces like the joint use of hydroponics and aquaculture as far back as 2000 BC. While most of the famous historical uses have been amongst the Aztecs, Egyptians, and Chinese, many cultures, including the Japanese, Peruvians, and Greeks, relied on aquaponics. Emerging research even suggests that the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were aquaponically sustained. Historically, aquaponics provided agricultural solutions for urban centers under harsh population pressures. A brief timeline is provided below. So then they kind of chronicle some of those civilizations that they reference. But Brother Trenell, what is aquaponics and how did you get involved in this space?
Man, what's interesting is that the definition that you read is something that they used in the course that I took. But aquaponics in its simplest form is really just it's using fish to grow plants and using plants to grow fish. So it's a combination of aquaculture, which is growing fish, and then hydroponics, like he said in the thing, which is the growing plants, but without soil. So um, it's basically man, it's let me see what this thing, I wrote it down. It's the growing of fish and plants together in a closed loop. So you're basically using the water from your fish tank, and the ammonia and microorganisms are pushed into a media bed. The media bed can be filled with hydrotone, which is like a clay rock, river rock. Um, you can't use all kind of rock because some rocks have they release bubbles, so you can't use it; it'll kill your fish. But and then volcanic rock, the volcanic rock is really good. But it's really just growing fish and growing plants together in a closed loop cycle. So the plants clean the water for the fish provide nutrients for the plants, and that's the simplest um, way to describe it. How I got into it, I kind of always been in like nutrition. So I've always wanted to grow my own food. So I started trying to do soil farming. I started going to Home Depot, buying all kinds of stuff, spending all kind of money, and we started growing a few things. We started growing tomatoes and strawberries and watermelons and things like that. That's how it initially started. But I was like, okay, well, I'm not vegan. I'm not a vegetarian. So, we eat meat. So what could I do to create a protein source? So I got a couple of chickens. I live in a suburban neighborhood in Gilbert. Chickens are not a problem. So we've got like 4 chickens. So now we had eggs. And so we were growing a few vegetables. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but how can we keep it advancing this? So I got on YouTube and looked at a lot of farming videos, and then I came across this Australian guy, and he was talking about aquaponics, and it looked interesting. And this all kind of happened like in summer of 2020, and you guys all know what was going on then. We were in COVID, and so when COVID started, my family, we were down in Mexico, and so we decided to stay down there. We stayed in Mexico for like almost a month and a half. We didn't come back to the United States. So we watched as people were fighting over toiletries and all this kind of stuff. And while I was down there, I was like, man, if they fighting over toiletries, what happens if there's a food shortage? And so for me, that's how my aquaponics journey began. And the course was like $1,000. It was like an 8-week course. It was like $1,000. And so I jumped into it, like I think June, July, August, and kind of after I took the course, I still was kind of confused. So I just got on YouTube and started watching every video I could find, for the simplest way to do aquaponics. So like I looked over in the Philippines and everywhere, just watched all the simplest ways of doing it. And then in October, I built my first system. And I pretty much never looked back. I started with like 25 fish. Um, I maxed out probably at almost 300-400 fish. Like I overpopulated my overpopulated my system. I should have kept expanding, but then but I didn't really know, so it was like, you know, just proofing the whole concept of things. But I mean, we grew everything. We grew tomatoes and cabbage and kale and strawberries, eggplant. I mean, you name it, you can pretty much grow it. We grew corn. Um, I mean, it's just so much better than hydroponics, because with hydroponics, you know, it's a chemical blend, one, so you can only grow whatever chemical. I mean, if you want to grow like lettuce, then you'll get a certain chemical combo for growing lettuce. But with aquaponics, it's just a nutrient dense system, so you can grow a variety of crops, and you don't have, I mean, because the plant's just going to take what it needs, and what it don't need, it won't be bothered with. But in hydroponics, just like, you know, what they do with marijuana, they have a certain NPK or whatever that they grow, that, you know, the formula to grow. But with aquaponics, it's like growing food next to a river, or like a natural water source, where you're going to have all the microorganisms, you're going to have the worms, you're going to have everything working together to produce, I mean, you know, the the highest quality, whatever you're growing. I mean, it's going to grow like 5 times as fast as soil. um I mean, your yields, and then you're growing fish on top of that, and you can grow quite a few varieties of fish depending on what area you're in. But in Arizona, where we are, um, you know, and where you guys have your land up there, you want to grow, you want to grow tilapia, and not the tilapia that's coming from Chile that they're pumping full of steroids and things like that. Tilapia is from the Nile, it's an African fish. So that's where it's initially from. But it's a very durable fish. It can do very high heat, and it can do very cold temps, even though you still need to run some heaters because you don't want the water to get too cold. But they'll survive, but they won't eat, which will kind of affect the nutrient level of your aquaponic system when it's colder. But if you keep your water, you know, warm, which you guys are running solar and things like that, so running little fish heaters is not gonna affect that in any capacity. So as long as the water stays reasonable, they'll keep eating, which will keep nutrients flowing into your system, which will keep your food growing, you know, like year round, if you want it. You obviously would change up crops depending on the heat, but outside of that, I mean, Kylon, he came to my house, and he actually saw, and I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, you know, really at that time, I mean, but I mean, he could tell you, it's just like one of those things. Once it gets started, it just kind of it'll run itself. It's very low maintenance, as long as you're checking, you know, your water pH, making sure, you know, you don't have any roots or anything clogging any of your outlets. I mean,
That was
it's
my question.
very
The
minimal.
maintenance. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
very,
about the
it's
maintenance. I
yes,
was worried. Yeah.
it's very minimal. I mean, and there's different ways you can do it. I mean, I'm tall, so I grew all my system set like 4 feet above ground. So I never was bending over to do anything. Everything, I'm harvesting everything like this. What, you know, so it's it's an easy thing, as long as you follow, you know, you follow the rules or the protocols. It's easy to manage, man. And I mean, the guy I learned from, the dude grows papaya trees in an aquaponic system. Like, I
Wow.
mean, and the trees are like 8, 9 feet tall. I mean, he had to cut his greenhouse open because the tree was growing like that, and it was producing huge, I mean, huge papayas, like, you know, larger than footballs. So I mean, as long as as long as it's done right, and I mean, like, to grow a tree or something like that, you'd have to use heavier rock. Like what I have in mind is clay rock, so it's really light, so it doesn't have the girth to hold down, you know, corn or anything like that. Which you can grow corn, but you need heavier rock, it's heavier substrate to do that. Um,
Well, bro, when when I came to your house, you couldn't have told me that you didn't know what you was doing, because
nah, man, like I
I,
was
I
real, yeah,
I heard you use the term food forest, and that's
yeah,
literally what I was looking at. I was like, wow, like
yeah,
you could feed, I don't know, 3 to 4 families just based on what you had set up in your backyard. And then on top of that, you had the fish, and you had an abundance of, I mean, decent sized fish, y'all. I
yeah.
mean, it would have been good eating for sure. Um, So just to give people a little more like perspective on what that would look like, you know what I mean? Like that system that you had was more than enough to sustain your family and some.
Yeah, it was like probably like I'm trying to remember when you came how much I had added. But it ended at about like 20 feet long by 4 feet wide.
That sounds
And
about right.
yeah, it was probably about that. And like I said, man, it'll take you probably about 9 months before your fish get to mature, like to a breeding level. Before they'll start having babies or whatnot. But in that, like once they start breeding, I mean, a tilapia has anywhere from 200 to 600 eggs. 200 to 600 eggs. So if you're starting with 25 fish, I mean, and after your first breeding, I mean, you could at a minimum, after they eat some or some die or whatever the case may be, you could at a minimum you're upgrading your system to like 200 fish eat, and that's on the low end. I mean, and that's if you don't, I mean, but if you take your fish out and you actually take them through the breeding process, put them in, in smaller fish tanks and put, two girls with one male, and you harvest the eggs and do it all that way. I mean, you can, with 25 fish, I mean, who knows, you're going to thousands of fish, but you got to be able to scale your systems to manage it. Because if you don't, and you have a bunch of adult fish, if you're not going through the complete cycle of harvesting your fish out, then your system will go rancid because you have too many big fish that are producing too much ammonia and poop into your water, and if you don't have enough plants to remove the toxicity out of it, it'll shut your whole system down. So
Wow.
you have to harvest. You like once your fish get to age, your larger fish, you'll take them and let those become your breeders, and everything else you want to harvest, whether you want to eat it yourself or eat it, cut, freeze them, or take them to farmers market or whatever it is that you want to do. But it multiplies so quick because fish don't have babies like mammals. Fish have eggs. I mean, they lay tons of eggs. So, once you start your systems, make sure that you're going to be able to keep, to upgrade, your fish tanks and things like that, because the fish are gonna explode on you. Like
Well,
serious.
what's great about that, especially considering tilapia fish, because
Mhm.
typically we hear, I guess the horror stories about
Mhm.
what it takes to produce like the mass produced tilapia fish. So
Yeah.
really, based off of that narrative, it's like a Frankenstein fish. So
Yeah,
when people hear
it's the way
tilapia,
they use it though. In
right?
society they use tilapia as a third tier fish, especially in most Asian countries, because koi and perch are more valuable fish than tilapia. But tilapia is a top feeder. It'll eat
Mm,
the roots of plant. Tilapia is like a chicken. If you can compare it to any other animal, it eats worms, bugs, roots, vegetables. I mean, you can feed. Like I was feeding my tilapia broccoli leaves. So
mm,
you can go full organic. You can fully sustain yourself with the aquaponic system if you grow. If you want to do your black fly larva, your fish can be 100% organic because you know what you're feeding them. Farm raised tilapia. Like I said, the stuff from Chile that you see in the supermarkets and in Costco and Sam's Club and all that stuff. All those fish are pumped full of hormones, vaccines, and everything else. And like I
mm.
said, they use them as third tier fish. So it's just like I can't remember that show. They had the show with the guy that used to go to all these disgusting places, and he went to one place, and the guy was talking about how they were using tilapia to clean up the sewers because I mean it was eating. They had it eating, like out of the sewer pipes or something like that. I mean, I think if you starve anything, it'll eat whatever. But it's a top feeding fish. It does not. I mean, it's the same fish that Jesus probably ate. I mean, that's what tilapia is, in its purest essence. So, and you can 100% organically feed tilapia like you can 100% organically feed chickens. It's the same. It's almost the same process. They eat leaves, and bugs and red wigglers, and you don't even need to. I mean, if you want to, you can buy the feeds, and you can find some purely organic feeds and things like that. But if you want to, you can feed them like chicken because they eat plant, and stuff like that. So
no doubt,
but
no doubt.
it's a good fish. So
Brother True Nakir, you got anything to add or anything to ask the brother based on what he said? I mean, what I like most about what you're saying is the fact that you know the food source. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And the fact that you could produce, the fruit, vegetables, and the protein in the fish. I
yeah.
mean, that's like an added bonus, and it's self-sustaining itself essentially.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, and the water can be used into your soil crops as well because it's so nutrient rich. If you got plants or things that are struggling, you can scoop some of that water out. Or, we typically have swirl filters because the fish when they get older, they start pooping so much that you have filters that you can literally um, hook a hose up to your swirl filter and use all that excess fish poop and put it into your soil gardens as well. So you can do that. I mean, it's just so many benefits to it. And tilapia is just one of the fishes that you can use. You can use catfish. If you guys eat catfish, you can definitely use do catfish. And some places they do freshwater shrimp. It's just there's a lot of different fish that you can use depending on the area that you're in. It all depends on your geographical area and what the temperatures are like. So, I mean, in colder places, and you can do trout, and some people do trout and things like that, but you got to have pumps that, push, because I think trout need fast moving water and stuff like that. So it makes it can complicate it a little bit more, depending on the fish that you can use, but you can also use perch. And that's the fish that they use in Australia a lot, silver perch, or whatever the freshwater fish. And they like that fish down there. Everybody don't, everybody. It all depends on your preference. But if you're a catfish eater, or if you just want to sell catfish, you can use it as just your fertilizer for you can grow your vegetables and sell the catfish to market if you want to. So I mean, and that's what some the, I was looking at this guy, these people down in North Carolina, they run these marijuana farms and all this other stuff. They were using aquaponics to grow marijuana, and they were able to write their fish off because it was fertilizer. So they didn't sell the fish. They used the fish, they grew the marijuana, and then they gave the fish to like some homeless shelter or something like that. But they were able to write it off because it was literally the fertilizer used to grow the plants. So you can use it. You can write them off. Like you're buying fertilizer, but they're producing it. So um, it's a
Dope.
lot of it's a lot of benefits to it, man. I don't, to be honest, man. After I got into it, I don't see why they don't have any kind of large scale aquaponics thing, especially like in Arizona where it's so hot. I mean, they could easily, turn some of these buildings into indoor aquaponic systems using lights, because you don't have to do it outdoors. You can do it indoors as well, because the fish don't need light, only plants. So yeah, and you can grow stuff year round. So it's it's definitely beneficial, but for guys like you guys, landowners, who want to be, fully self-sustained, you already got your house, your land, your water, you put your aquaponic system out there, you're growing your fish and your vegetables. I mean, and then out where you guys are, you guys got a lot of the ranchers, the beef ranchers. And so they'll trade with you guys. Like if y'all want beef, y'all just sell them fish. And because they don't have access to that stuff out there. I know, because I was talking to a guy, he was asking me when we were thinking about moving out there, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I said, we're gonna farm fish and vegetables. And he was like, well, let me know. And I'll buy some of that for you. We'll trade you some beef, or whatever the case may be. But
Good old barter
um,
system.
yeah, barter
Absolutely.
system. Yeah. So I mean, but to me, it's the easiest way to go self-sustainable, because at least you have your fish as a protein, you have your chickens, fish, chickens, you got your eggs, you got chickens, you got all your vegetables that you can grow. The soil's really good, really decent up in that area where you guys are. So it just helps you. It just helps you really kind of limit who you have to deal with, in order to sustain your lifestyle out there, at least food wise.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Indeed, brother.
from a food standpoint. So
Indeed.
um
Indeed, brother True. Jump in there.
Yeah.
when you were speaking about you can do it inside, it reminded me of a partner I used to stay with. He I don't know if it was hydroponics or aquaponics, because he had a system. All I remember was like a fish tank, and like tubes, and there was a fish bowl that was higher and that was connected. But earlier you said that you took a course that was $1,000, right?
Yeah.
And when you were done, you said that you still weren't quite sure of like how it worked. Would you suggest bypassing that and just going to videos, or
you know what, I would only because you know, when most people put courses together, they add a lot of fluff to it, you know, because it's a value thing, you know. I mean, for somebody like, honestly, the value of aquaponics is astronomical for somebody that's going to take the knowledge and use it and apply it to their life. I mean, you can't put a price on that. But as far as like how to do it, it's not very hard. All the components, you know, the moving parts, it's not a very difficult thing. So, but yeah, I could put together, you know, I mean, like, I paid $1,000. I got a lot of information. They gave me um a couple of their system designs, you know, like, so like when you graduate the class or whatever, when you get your certificate, you know, they give you like some plans on, so you can build to build a couple of different types. So they have the small family, they got small commercial, like, so if that's something that you feel like you'll need, like plans or something like that, then yeah, it might be worth it to you. But I mean, the class it had a lot of fluff. It was videos, you know, and it's just one of those things that once you like Kylan bought my my patioponics. I mean, you bought the ebook, right? For the small one?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the small one. So by just I mean, and that was like $25. So once you learn the basis of it, like what it takes, okay, I need an area to grow. I need a sump / fish tank on the most minute level. I need something that's going to pump water into my grow bed, and I need the water to rise and fill and drop down to oxygenate the whole system. And whether I put goldfish or liquid seaweed in there or whatever, so I need a nutrient system. It's very simple. You know, it's a very simple like project, but they want to complicate. It's not. I wouldn't spend $1,000. I wouldn't do it again. I tell you, I wouldn't spend $1,000 because, like I said, they give you a lot of fluff, and you could go and watch some YouTube videos of some Vietnamese guy doing it with Coke bottles. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so like it's crazy, because all you need is like, I mean, you can go to Home Depot and buy some like a cement mixing bowl and a something to put water in, and few pieces of wood and a pump, and figure it out. Just it's not that difficult, man. It's not rocket science, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But they do it to make money, man. Like, you know, and even when Jay and Kylan was coming over, like, I was so excited about it, I didn't even want to charge nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted to show people that it could work for the most part. But you know, I would just watch videos, or, man, you can take my number, you can call me. I could answer any questions that you have, tell you, you know, give you some resources of where you can go and get your pumps, where you can go get your, I mean, it's simple. PVC pumps, water testers. It's easy, man. It's, you know, it's just, it's not difficult at all, to be totally honest. So
yeah, I seen a brother like the friend I was talking about. He was doing it in an apartment unit. So
yeah, no, it's very simple, man. So yeah, I don't waste your $1,000 for real. You spend
Indeed.
$1,000 and build your system. You do better, you know what I'm saying, like spending that money messing up trying to get it right than paying somebody and then having to go build it yourself anyway. So it's
Okay.
not worth it, man.
Okay.
Um,
I know Brother Nakia had a question, but it looked like he dropped off for a moment.
Oh, no worries.
Crondo, you got anything? Any questions?
So what I gathered from what you said, and dope presentation, by the way, bro. But from what I'm gathered is it's kind of like, because I used to grow marijuana, and the fish kind of are like giving nutrients and fertilizer from their shit, right?
Yeah. From
And
their gills, because the ammonia and the poop, there's microorganisms that actually eat that, and then when they begin to grow, they create like what is it like? It's like it's a process that it goes through, and once you get enough of them, then they create like this nitro back. See, that's what they'll do with the expensive. They'll give you all the terminologies.
The terminology,
You know what I'm saying?
the jargon,
But they'll give you all the jargon.
Yeah,
but what it is, but at the end of the day, these bacteria create nitrites, which we create nitrates. The nitrates is what what green leafy plants need is nitrates to grow. And so the only thing that typically is missing out of an aquaponic system where you'll have shortages is calcium, iron, and potassium.
What about sweetener stuff?
Yeah, like those things are not necessarily in an aquaponic system in large amounts. But you eat bananas, put your bananas in a jar, put them out in the sun, pour that water into your aquaponic system. You need iron. Go to Amazon, get you some chelated iron, put a couple of teaspoons in your system into the media bed where it's gonna impact it. You got your iron. Calcium you don't got to worry about. Arizona water, highest calcium levels in the
United States. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So I could, if I took you outside right now and showed you my patio system, because I got lava rock in it. Lava rock has a lot of pores, so the calcium is coming up through the pores of the rocks. The rocks look white because of so you don't have to worry about calcium in Arizona. Chelated iron, you can get a bag of that for like $19, on Amazon. And it's not 100% necessary like that. And then what was the other one? Potassium. You can get that from bananas all day. You eat bananas, put the bananas, let them sit out, let that water, and then dump that water into your system.
To me, it sounds like working smarter, not harder.
Man, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful otherwise thing, you have to put nutrients and chemicals to equate to all that shit that they already bring to the table, just existing in the ecosystem.
Yeah, man, to me, and Kylon can attest to it, man. And the reason why I said, if one of you said you used the word food forest, I thought about taking a permaculture course where they show you how to build the food forest and all this other stuff. And I ended up doing it within my aquaponics system. And so it's just, to me, it makes sense because there's no other gardening that you're going to do that's going to provide you a protein source. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And so, I mean, and you put those two together, that you get some chickens. Chickens produce at a very fast rate as well. Anything that lay eggs, I mean, it's not one-offs, I mean, so the chickens, you get 4 chickens, you get you 1 rooster within 6 months, I mean, whenever, I mean, depending, you let your chickens go, mature, and now you bring in your rooster or whatever. I mean, chickens lay at least 1 egg a day. So if it's being fertilized, then, now you're getting more and more chickens, and now you just, and then you get to a place where, okay, I got my laying birds, and then I got my meat birds, and then I got my fish, and then I got my trees, my fruit trees out here, my apples, my oranges, or whatever you're doing. And now you're doing permaculture. That's really what it is. I mean, you guys have the capacity to change, to take that land out there that you have, and turn it into flourishing farmland, because the soil's good to begin with. But then once you start, I did a lot of stuff. I went to the worm farm, so I understand layering, rejuvenating the soil. Like I did all that, man. Like I was all in, man. COVID had me shook, and I was just like, hey, look, how do I take care of my family if everything goes to shit? That was like, excuse my language, but that was my mindset. So I jumped into everything that I could find that made sense. And I tried things, wicking baskets, wicking buckets. Like I did it all. I literally did it all, but nothing nothing even stands close to aquaponics.
So,
Because
oh my bad, I didn't mean to cut you, bro.
no, you good, you good.
I was gonna say that's a good segue because 2020 is what moved me to make my
Hmm.
first purchase. And for that same reason, I
Yeah,
started to question how secure I was, and
yeah,
just seeing what people were doing for the minimal things like toilet
yeah,
paper, and I mean, bottled water is essential, but I have this saying that our civility in modern day society, it kind of hinges on 48 hours. Like, things start to deteriorate after
yeah.
that. If people feel like they don't have their essentials, or they feel threatened after 48 hours, people willing to take your head off for whatever
Yeah,
they
oh
need
yeah.
or
So I
want.
mean, yeah, exactly. So we weren't people who carry firearms or anything like that. But that a lot of things has changed. Because like people, like I said, if people will go crazy over toilet paper, imagine when they go into stores and there's no food and you got to feed your family. People are going to go
Right.
into straight survival mode. So I wanted to tap into this. What aquaponics offers to you, um, it offers you food purity. You know where your food is coming from. You know that there's no pesticides on it, or if you spray anything on it, you really can't, because any pesticides that you put into your aquaponic system will kill your fish. Your fish are basically the bodyguard to your system. So
Right.
your food purity, food security. You don't have to worry if you growing your own food and you got your fish and everything. You don't have to worry about if something goes wrong. Okay, I got my family. I can feed my family. I'm gonna be good. And if you how big of depending on how big of systems you're running, you might be able to sell and give food to family and friends. You might be a refuge to other people. And then your food sovereignty, I mean, we don't know where our food comes from. We don't know, who what hands are behind anything that we eat. I mean, you look at most of the food you buy in the store, you look at the back of it, I mean, and it looks like rocket fuel formula. Like, I mean, you need like I'm saying, a science bachelor just to pronounce some of the words like on the back of the stuff, man. Like, it's not food to begin with. All food, it's nothing pure about it. There's no security in it, and there's no sovereignty in it. So I mean, to me, like I don't know if I said this to you when you were here, Kylan, but you know it made me look at wealth in an entirely different aspect. COVID, because I was like, you can't buy what's not available. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. If they're not selling it, you don't have any access to it. So if the people who are if you don't know a farmer, if you don't know somebody that you can go get eggs from, if you don't know somebody that you can go get beef from, if you don't know somebody personally, then it doesn't matter how much money you have. I can still tell you no.
Mm.
But if I take that same money and I begin to put together an infrastructure that produces food, and not only for my family in dire need, but also I can now sell this food into the market or sell it to my family members or whatever the case may be. Now I've taken that same money, I've created a secure infrastructure that will feed my family for generations, and now I'm also, what I'm saying, revamping my cash flow off it as well. So,
That's
I
heavy.
yeah, I had we so and so, man, I thought we were gonna be here, like we was talking about, but then someone was like, you know what, that area in our vision we kept seeing water and green, so we started looking in Mexico. I got my residency in Mexico. I'm in my third year residency citizenship in Mexico right now. But we went down there, we looked around, and I'm like, nah, this is not it either. And we were looking to go to Costa Rica, and somehow Costa Rica became Belize, and I went to Belize last year. And when I was in Belize, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is where we're gonna do our thing. So I'm looking at some land in Belize right now that already has like sour sap trees, um, mangoes, pineapples, coconuts, like already mature trees on the property with year-round creeks, water and stuff flowing through the property. and Belize is 2-1 US. So every dollar is worth two. 2-1, and it's a third world country. You can get lost there. You know what I'm saying? Like, like when things go down in the world, it's going to happen in major cities. Major. I mean, America. Like, I don't know what you gentlemen's faith is, man, but America is Mystery Babylon, and this country is going to fall. Any country, Bible says that pride comes before the fall. And so and that's one of the major agendas being pushed in this country right now, and has always been. Has always been American pride. Oh man, I'm from America. Everywhere you go in the world, man, we only Americans be having their flags, what I'm saying, waving, rearing their flags, everything. But not only that pride, now we're dealing with another element of pride. That's taking things to a whole nother level. And so that's why we realize, man, like for us, we got to get out of here. We have to create, a refuge for, for family and friends that, man, it's like, if things do go down, like, hey man, we got like 40 acres down here. Y'all come, I'm saying, y'all
Yeah, that's what's
come
up.
on
So
down.
you answered my question. Yeah, you answered my question. We was talking about off backstage, like
come on
why?
down.
Yeah,
Come
like
on
so.
down, man. Because so
See.
that's the thing, man. We in a Noah type of mindset, and it's just like, okay, even though my people don't see it, my family don't see it, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, we still gotta build the ark, and maybe when it starts raining, you know what I'm saying, then they'll start to see things. So I push for everybody. I'm like, man, have a plan B, be able to get out of this country if need be. For a while I was kind of nervous because they had Lukesville shut down. Like, I don't know if y'all knew, but you couldn't even get into Rocky Point,
Right.
For a few weeks because all the immigrants was coming up, so they wouldn't even let people into Mexico. But have an exit strategy, man, and be able, I mean, you guys obviously do. Y'all got that property up there and you guys are building on it. So if stuff start going down in the city, y'all can always dip out and go up onto your property, and where you got your homesteads, and people can't just roll up in there,
Wow, man. What you talking about right now is kind of like the next frontier in my mind, like outside of these borders of the United States, and really embracing, just being a global citizen overall, but just not limiting ourselves to these borders. So I've heard nothing but great things about Belize. I know there seems to be a movement of what they call it, expat, black expats from the United States into other areas, like all over the world, whether it be Africa, Central America, South America. So that's definitely something that interests me. So I'm gonna have to keep you close, bro, and definitely I want to hear more about your progression in Belize, because based on what I've seen and heard, I mean, it sounds like paradise. You know what I
No,
mean?
it is, man. It's a hidden gem. A lot of the expats live on the island, though. They live on San Pedro, in the Keys, like on the island. So that's where you'll find a lot of American expats. But on the inland, I mean, it's beautiful. It's lush, green. I mean, it's really a beautiful, untapped place. We spent about 2 weeks there. We did the island thing, then we went into San Ignacio, like up into the farmland, and then we went down to Placencia, which is like the coastal area as well. But when we go back in March, we're going down to Punta Gorda, which is even further south. Because I mean, the land, like I said, the land is cheap. I mean, there's so many farms and just different things down there already. And so my thing is, I wanted to move to a place that had mature fruit trees. And when you start talking about pineapples and mangoes and cacao and like all this stuff already on your property, and now you just go in, do what you got to do, build my system, my greenhouse, or whatever I need to do down there, and then we start putting together the homes, because we want to do retreats and stuff as well. Hopefully, think we'll get the opportunity to do that, but we want to do wellness retreats and stuff, out there as well. Have people come down and work on their mental health and things. So, and eat really good food, breathe fresh air. Get that jungle / Caribbean, what I'm saying, experience. So
True said, sign me up.
No, man,
Shit, me
it's
too.
definitely good.
I heard Belize is beautiful. The people,
It is.
the
And that's
land, the
the thing.
weather.
That's the thing. Yeah. The thing was, sorry to interrupt you, but that was the thing. I don't speak Spanish, so that was another Achilles heel for Mexico. But then Belize is an English speaking province. So when you go down there and build, they speak English, just like. So there's no language barrier. And that was the ticket. I mean, even in Costa Rica, because Costa Rica was a destination as well. And I don't know if you guys watched that thing on Netflix about the blue zones, about the people that live the longest lives or whatever in Costa Rica. Costa Rica was one of the places. It's a blue zone where people are living, in their hundreds, and they're actively living in their hundreds. They're not sitting in a bed. These people are out, in their 90s, gardening and doing all this kind of stuff. So, it's the city living, man. I've done this my whole life, and I just want to move to a place where I just want to move to paradise. I just want to, um, that's my end game for me, man. Like is figuring out, okay, how can we, how financially do what we need to do. We do have a marketing consultant business. Currently we're doing well. My wife's working on some projects with with this behavioral health stuff. And God willing, if one of these things hit like we think it is, man, we'll have all the financial backing and stuff that we need to go and do what we need to do. So, but all your medicinal medicines. I mean, I know y'all know, who Dr. Sebi is and all that stuff, man. Honduras is right under Belize. Guatemala right north, like that area, that region of Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and I think like Nicaragua or something, like in that area. That's where all your medicinal medicines, like, what I'm saying, are in those areas. And a lot of these properties, they're selling the properties and they're like, yeah, there's 82 medicinal herbs on this property. Like, like how, so I'm like, that's one thing. And I'll tell you guys this, but man, I was thinking, because when I started, one of the benefits of learning aquaponics was when I first did it with the Australian guy. He told us to put maxi crop in our systems before we added the fish, which was a seaweed fertilizer, and it had iron in it. So just recently I got to thinking, because I was like, man, I've been down to Cancun and Tulum and all this other stuff. I've been to Belize and Florida, and everybody's talking about this sargassum, that brown seaweed that's all over the place down in the Caribbean and stuff. Y'all familiar with that?
Yep.
And so, man, I jumped back on YouTube. I started watching videos on how to turn seaweed into fertilizer. So so one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to start a company called Brazilian Brown Gold, and I'm gonna figure out how to turn that sargassum, that stuff that they dumping, having no use for, into pliable liquid fertilizer for like aquaponic systems and stuff like that. So
you dropping a lot on us, bro. Man,
no, I'm just
that
it honestly just came.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
it's heavy. It's real
It
heavy.
just came to me. It came to me, man, like a few days ago. I was driving home and I was like, man, because we was there, and it was like a big deal. They were like, oh man, the beaches are so jacked up from this seaweed and da 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 da. But in Belize they don't touch it because like and well, in the Keys they don't, the Amber Keys, they don't touch it because they say it nourishes the coastline or something. They leave it while it's in the water, but when it comes up on the shore, then they scoop it up and do away with it. But I don't know what they do with it. So when I go out there this time, I'm gonna ask, hey, what do you guys do with all the seaweed? Because I remember in Mexico, man, it was just piled off into the in the street like somewhere, and it stinks and all kinds of stuff. But seaweed is high in nitrates, and that's the whole reason why it's in the water anyway, because of the runoff is creating high levels of nitrates in the ocean, which is making the plant life in the ocean grow. But that same seaweed can be dried, ground into a powder, shaken, just like with the chelated iron, can be shaken into an aquaponic system as a form of fertilizer. It can be shaken into your in on soil and stuff as well, and you get the same NPK from it. So, but that's the whole thing. Is like how is somebody like me in Arizona thinking about this, but multi-million-dollar companies ain't like, hey, look, we can flip this and turn this into fertilizer that can, because they don't want to. That's why. They want to keep us all, buying their stuff and doing their thing. They don't really want to see the earth is an abundant place, man, and it constantly produces an abundance of everything. But you got a few people that just want to hoard it and act like, oh no, we're special. And no, you're not special. This is an abundant earth, and everything in it is recyclable and goes back in and produces more. But they don't want that, man. They could fix the soil issues and stuff if they wanted to. They don't have to spray all this pesticides and stuff. All that seaweed can be used to re-neutralize the soil. 100%. They could bring it in by the boat, by the container loads. Put that stuff, dig up the soil, put that seaweed in there, let that stuff sit for 3 or 4 months, and the worms go to work on it, and that soil will be able to, it'll grow food like you know what I'm saying, like the Garden of Eden. 100%. It really would. But that we don't think like that because we're so far removed from our agricultural mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like we're supposed to be in tune with our domain, and we're not. We're not in tune. We're
Motherfucker
not in tune.
stuck in the rat race. He's stuck in the
Yeah. No, it's like,
in,
yeah,
in,
do
in the
this, do
wheel.
this,
The
do this,
wheel.
do
It
this, do
basically be
this.
saying
Right.
like even when you wrong.
Man.
Yeah.
That's man, you saying a lot, man. I mean, wow, we definitely covered everything that I had in mind, but then of course you gave us so much more. And
Oh man.
I feel like this is a conversation that we should definitely revisit
Yeah.
to get into some of those more detailed aspects of what's motivated you to even think in this direction and some of those opportunities that you have expanded on, because it's so abundant. But like you said, we just, it's out of sight, out of mind. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But
Yeah.
really, because I saw all that stuff when I was in Cancun too. I was seeing
Yeah.
all that stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just there right up under our noses, and it's just like, wow, ignorance is such a barrier. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
I
It's
seen
such
a
a
lot of
barrier.
motherfuckers buying land in Mexico right now too.
Yeah,
And
no,
and
Word.
and,
especially,
and
yeah,
Puerto
yeah. You got a you
Penasco and
got a you
shit.
got a
All right,
heavy
chill out the clearance.
black population in Merida. That was one of the places I looked at. Us a lot of African American expats live in Merida. I don't know, man. I just, I'm excited to talk to you guys, man. Like what you guys doing is exciting to me, man. Like I only talk to Coach Jay, man, because to me everybody else is just like, they're like just sheep being led to the slaughter, man. All the
Mm,
stuff that people is worried about to me is like, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I did, man? My birthday was like last weekend, on the 13th. You know what I
Happy
did for my
belated.
birthday? I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I turned 48. You know what I did for my birthday? I went to Airbnb has like this thing called Airbnb events, and my wife found it, and we went to go look at this fully sustainable home, like out in in Scottsdale somewhere, like back in the mountains. And man, I'm just in there asking all the questions because I mean, like that's what matters to me, man. Like, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I went and got solar certified. I went up to Colorado, took the um, the solar lab and all this other stuff up there, man. It's like, I just want to know how to do it. I don't think I'll have to do it, but I want to know that when it's being done, is done right.
indeed.
And I think, because at first I was thinking, when I first jumped into it, I was like, man, I got to do it. I'm gonna be doing all this work, and then I realized, like, nah, that's not how my God works. So he's like, he just want me to be able to manage it and make sure it's done right. This ain't gonna be all hands on, man. You're not gonna go out there and build no house in the jungle. You ain't Tarzan. Like, like I say, that ain't finna happen. I'm gonna make sure you have the necessary things that you need, but you got to be able to make sure that it's done right. So I need you to have this knowledge.
No doubt.
And so
Knowledge.
yeah, and that's really, because I was stressing, bro. I mean, as men, that's our primary thing is always trying to figure out how we can take care of our family. And like I said, that COVID stuff showed me, man, that we don't have no power. I mean, and the black community has even less power. We got a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? But no infrastructure. Like we need
Wow.
infrastructure. We need infrastructure. Like take that, you know, like yeah, it's nice. I know, man. I know most of us grew up in the hood and all this other stuff, and we want that nice car and $100,000 car and all that stuff, man. But what if you built a greenhouse? What, you know what I'm saying? Like you can still get the car, but build that greenhouse first, that so your grandchildren always have food. You know, like
Priorities.
it's just yeah. My mind is just in a, and I don't think I'm high and mighty. I just like man, I think I think I'm humbled. Like you know, I'm humbled in a different place. It's like I don't even the things that I used to want. Like I don't even crave those things, bro. Like
Mm.
you know, I just want to be on the beach in some sandals. You know what I'm saying? Like eating some fruit. I mean, having the money, but you know what I'm saying, not having the, you know, I mean, because that's another thing. Y'all move to Belize, bro. Like, don't bring your Jordans. Don't bring none of your shoes. Don't, because nobody cares. like, like nobody
That's
cares,
beautiful.
bro. Like
That's
you jump off the boat when you're Bape and your Louis Vuitton and all that stuff. Nobody cares, bro. Like, like nobody cares, man. You know, you can straight Walmart it out, man. You look like you balling out there, man. Like, it's just like it's just a different vibe, man. It's a totally
Well, you know
different
what
vibe.
what's great about you know, this type of I guess mental clarity and something that I remind myself, you know, when you're on this path, especially in the beginning of that journey, it's lonely, right?
Mm-hmm.
There may be some resistance, there may be some form of ridicule or, you know, teasing going on about, you know, being extreme or whatever the case may be. But I think the great thing is when you own that path and you encounter others on that same or similar path of a similar mental
Mm-hmm.
state,
Mm-hmm.
it's encouraging. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
no,
it's a
definitely.
great thing to have this discussion with a group of brothers that are even entertaining, not just
Yeah,
entertaining, but actually
you doing
mobilizing
it.
on these
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
concepts. So
Thank you, thank
before
you.
we,
You don't planted
yeah.
some seeds,
Nah, man, no, man.
literally
You guys,
and figuratively.
you guys inspire me, man. Like when Kylon called me, man, because I, like you said, I'm. It's a lone. I'm in a lonely place, man. Nobody. No, I mean, my mom rocks with me, because she been around me the whole time, you know, during that process. She was actually down in Mexico with us when it happened, when COVID hit or whatever, and we just stayed down there. So she's been with us the whole time in it. But man, like people think I'm crazy, man. They think I'm crazy, and I'm like, you know, they thought Noah was crazy too till it started raining. So I'm just, you know,
indeed,
Well,
like y'all
it goes
just
back
keep,
to what you said. Sleep,
huh?
yes,
sheep. It goes back to what you said. Sheep's being
Sheep
led
led,
to the
yeah,
slaughter.
led to the slaughter,
Not
man.
saying that like I hate the term woke or whatever, but like not
Yeah,
saying we super woke or whatever. Like
no,
motherfuckers just I know I pay attention to what the fuck is going on.
yeah,
So
yeah,
Yeah.
that being said, you always got to stay ready, so you ain't got to get ready
yeah,
and see
man.
what's
indeed,
happening, and then you pivot to where when some shit do pop off,
I should
yo,
probably tell
we
a
already know
story
what we
about when we
doing.
did things
We're
Hmm.
not
again in
scrambling
San
like
Diego.
everybody else. We already know
Hmm.
what we doing. Or
Yeah,
even just to the fact, like
Them niggas went to
in my
Tijuana.
personal perspective, I'm sick of motherfuckers. So I don't want to be around none of you
They
dumbass,
came back
idiotic,
complaining
stupid
about the
nah,
motherfuckers
prostitutes
anyway.
was charging
hey, I'm
$50.
with you. I'm with you 100% on that, man. I've had so many people that we've had to part ways with. It's just because, man, like it's like everything is being revealed. I mean, and you can just really see people it's a great delusion on the world right now, man. Like, and like you said, I hate using the word woke too, man, but you are woke. You are awake. You know, everybody else is sleepwalking. You're definitely awake because, and my whole thing now is just like, man, it's been like 3 years, man. So how much more time do we really got? That's my thing. You know, I'm
man,
like, okay, this happened 3 years ago. It's 2024. They already talking about this Agenda 30 thing, but is it really going to take that long? So, man, whatever you guys got going on, man, like be intentional about it. Like
indeed,
do not feel like, oh man, I got time. Cause I don't think we got much time, man. I
indeed.
don't.
We gonna keep
I don't.
pushing.
Yeah, y'all keep pushing, man. Fortify everything that you got out there, man. I mean, and just in faith, man. Like you're not on this path for no reason.
Indeed,
That's the truth, because everybody ain't there. Everybody else is, you know, they
indeed.
they go they ghosting, man. They ghosting themselves. watching TV, watching shows and worried about this and worried about that, and they're not paying attention to this undertow, this undercurrent, this rip
Yes,
current
sir.
that's gonna take them all out.
Brother Nakia, now that you're back with us, before we let the good brother go, did you have any particular questions or anything you wanted to add before we close out?
No, what I would say though is that shout out to the brother, man, for one giving us some good gems. I was one of the videos that Crondo had shared a little bit earlier is from my son's science teacher. He actually specializes in aquaponics and also doing fish tanks. He does a lot of extravagant fish tanks and stuff like
Nice.
that, man. He had a $2 million project that he did a fish tank for someone for.
Wow.
But he just recently did one for their school. The school's right around the corner from him. And man, he, like you said, the bottles. He took old plastic recycled bottles and used those to be able to put the plants and everything inside of it, man. So just everything you were saying is spot on, brother. And we appreciate your time and just tapping in and giving us some good gems, because it's definitely something that's sustainable, and it's the essence of what growing looks like, brother. So greatly appreciate you for your information, brother.
Not a problem, man. Anytime, Kylon.
Sure.
For those that want to connect with you or know a little bit more about what you have done, or purchase your ebook, where can they find you?
You can. I don't, man. To be honest, like, I don't know if that site is still up, but I mean, you can find me. You can find me on Instagram at Condition to Prevail. And from there you can just DM me, man. I'm an open book, man. I'm always accessible. I mean, this is all I do. So, outside of being with my family, my kids are homeschooled. Everything we do is just trying to take steps and strides into our final outcome. So, I'll be doing. I'm more than likely, because I mean, you like I said, you inspired me to really get back into this stuff. So I jumped out and got all my notes and stuff. I got my aquaponics system back up and running. I'm probably gonna throw the tanks on there over the next few days. Get some fish from my neighbor who I gave all my fish to. But he has a ton of fish over there now. He's like, hey man, hook your tank back up so I can give you your fish back. So like I'm here. I'm accessible. If you guys want my phone number, I can give you my number too. If you want to give me a call or find out anything. So
Indeed. Condition to Prevail on Instagram.
Yeah.
DM Brother Trenell if you have more questions, or you just want to tap in with them.
When we start setting it up, we gonna just do it. We gonna get a big ass lake of aquaponic lake.
Yeah, no, you can do that. You can do that.
Yeah, and so we might have to. Yeah, we might have to have you roll up there with us and just project manage
100%, man. I would love to be a part of it. I definitely would love to be a part of it, man. I would love to see it all come together, because I know the good. I know the good that it's gonna do. So
no doubt. Well, we're gonna keep you close, bro.
Sure,
I think we're gonna go ahead and close this one out. Again, thank you, Brother Trenell. You made history with us. You are our first guest, and we appreciate all the jewels you dropped. I mean, you gave us so much tonight. I'm gonna play this one back a couple of times. And I know that the listeners will get a lot of knowledge from this one here. So I just want to extend my gratitude to you once again. And then, for everyone else that's following us, you can see where to reach the Growth Spot Collective. We have our Gmail down at the ticker down below. And then also Facebook, Instagram, we also have a presence. Feel free to DM us, hit us with your questions, or if you want to contribute to this particular platform in any way, just hit us up and we'll go from there.
And we got the Legacy Camp coming up. So by the time this come out, it's going to be nearing. So we got the Legacy Camp coming up, where we're taking 20 young men to the lake linemen and to the land to build with them, teach them concrete, teach them archery, fishing, hiking, breath work, camping skills, outdoorsman type skills. So be on the lookout for that as well. The flyer should have already been circulating by the time this episode come out, because we're stockpiling the episodes. So by the time this come out, it should be circulating and the buzz should be surrounding. Sign your young man up. We're getting them to detach from these phones and this technology to get them back into, like Brother Trenell was saying, like, yo, let's get into these essential skills.
Yeah, your essence.
Indeed. So with that being said, until next time, check us out on the next episode. We'll be right back at you. We're gonna keep it going. Peace.